American Indians and English settlers had a complex relationship. At times they worked together, but at other times they fought bitterly. As more English settlers arrived, they took lands on which American Indians lived. In 1675, one chief went to war to stop this. How did the English colonies in New England face this challenge? Wampanoag relations with the English settlers were badly strained in 1675. However, it had not always been so. For many years, the Wampanoags had watched as settlers from England moved into their homeland. They not only had tolerated the newcomers, but had also assisted them. In fact, the settlement at Plymouth might never have survived without the Wampanoags' help. In 1621, Massasoit had made peace agreements with the leaders of Plymouth Colony. His son, Metacom, had even taken the English name of Philip. When Philip became the Wampanoag leader, he had hoped to work with the settlers to protect and provide for his people. He also wanted to prevent further English settlement and to organize the local tribes. But there had been trouble. In 1662, King Philip's brother had died suddenly. King Philip believed that the English had killed him. Although the Wampanoags continued to work with the English, King Philip's trust was shaken. Just a few weeks before the eclipse, the English had put 3 Wampanoag men to death after finding them guilty of murder. King Philip believed that their trial under English laws had been unfair and that the men were innocent. An angry group of Wampanoag warriors struck back, killing 9 English settlers in a village called Swansea. King Philip and his people now faced a choice. They could either seek peace with the English or go to war against them. King Philip made a fateful choice. Even though they knew that much bloodshed would follow, they decided to fight the English. The war he began changed the lives of thousands of people across New England. The battles to come were among the deadliest in American history. King Philip's war was a complex struggle. It was not just a war between English settlers and the Wampanoags, because New England was home to many other American Indian groups. Tribes such as the Nipmunks, the Narragansetts, the Mohegans, and others all faced a hard choice. As one Englishman noted, many of the Indians were in a kind of maze, not knowing what to do. Some would join King Philip, while others would side with the settlers. Why were American Indians undecided? Many groups shared King Philip's anger at the English, but others had friendly ties with the settlers. Some had converted to Christianity, and many American Indians had fought side by side with English soldiers before. In the Pequot War of 1636, some tribes had even joined the English to defeat the Pequot tribe, knowing that the New England's American Indians were not always friendly with each other. In 1675, deep rivalries still divided many groups, and certain tribes would settle old scores by joining the English. The English settlers were more united than the American Indians. When war broke out, they soon organized to meet King Philip's challenge. Yet, as with the American Indians, old rivalries and conflicts caused trouble. Communities blamed each other for causing the war, arguing over who would lead and supply troops. Some feared that the war would be an excuse for a rival settlement to take disputed land. Such disagreements harmed English defenses. At first, the American Indians had success. They surprised the English by making hit-and-run raids, which involved sneaking up on a target, launching a surprise attack, and then disappearing. The English had trouble adjusting to this type of warfare because they were used to fighting in the open. King Philip's forces made great gains. Now that victory seemed possible, new allies joined them. Once friendly tribes turned against the English, causing the English to suspect even loyal American Indians. In one town, officials imprisoned a large group of Christian American Indians on an island in Boston Harbor and elsewhere. Officials tried to take weapons away from American Indians. English commanders refused to use American Indian soldiers in battle. Such treatment turned former friends into enemies. In the fall of 1675, the English were worried because the mighty Narragansett tribe had not yet joined the war. The English feared that the tribe might join King Philip. To stop them, the English attacked a large Narragansett settlement. The great swamp fight left many hundreds of Narragansett men, women, and children dead. Many English fighters were also killed or wounded. Although the Great Swamp Fight was a terrible blow to the Narragansetts, it did not stop the American Indian onslaught. Warriors still raided terrified English settlements. In the winter of 1676, villages just 10 miles away from Boston came under attack. As spring approached, the English were on the verge of defeat as many other villages lay in ashes. Luckily for them, their fortunes were about to change. The English did not know that King Philip was in trouble, too. After the Narragansetts' defeat in this great swamp fight, Philip needed more help. He took a large force of present-day New York, where he hoped to win support of the fierce Mohawk tribe, but instead the Mohawks attacked him. His forces limped back to New England. At this time, the English made a key decision. They again made use of friendly American soldiers, such as the Christians who had been held on the island. The decision paid off. Within months, the combined English and American Indian troops were winning the war. King Philip's forces were now on the run. The end came for King Philip in August 1676. He was shot by an American Indian soldier who had joined with the English. By summer's end, King Philip's war was over. King Philip's War took a little more than a year, yet its effects were long-lasting. A dozen settlements had been destroyed, and about 600 English settlers in the region, out of a total of about 52,000, had died. The damage to the American Indian population was even worse. Some experts think that as many as 3,000 out of a total 20,000 American Indians in New England died. Many more were captured and sold as slaves. When the war was over, New England was in ruins, but completely under English control. Even though American Indians had played a big part in the survival of the first English settlements, with many helping the English win King Philip's War, American Indians were largely gone from the region by 1676. Just a few tribal communities remained after the devastating conflict. The English, on the other hand, would recover. Their settlements would once again grow and prosper.